Good morning, everyone. Bonjour, bonjour, c'est go. May I take a moment to acknowledge the passing in this city this past week of my predecessor, the Honourable James Bartleman, the 27th Lieutenant Governor of Ontario. Mr. Bartleman was a proud member of the Chippewas of Rama First Nation and a staunch advocate for Indigenous peoples. He fought against all forms of racism and discrimination. He focused on the importance of literacy, particularly as a way of improving the potential and the lives of young people. He also served this country with distinction as a diplomat around the world, and so much more. He will be dearly missed. This morning, I'd like to begin by saying very simply, thank you. As my appointment as Lieutenant Governor draws to a close in the coming months, I am so grateful to have the opportunity this morning to thank the many, many mayors, councillors, reeves, and wardens who have hosted me so generously and graciously in your cities and towns. We have shared history lessons, tours, roundtables, cultural and sporting events, and more. Beyond the formalities, we've had meaningful conversations about hopes and fears, potential and achievement. Next month, I'm scheduled to make an official visit to the township of Muskoka Lakes, and this will be my 100th official visit to an Ontario municipality. This is in addition, thank you, in addition to visits to all 124 electoral ridings in this province. Over the past 9 years, I've been given a wonderful opportunity. I've had a bird's eye view of this province, and also, with your help, an invaluable on-the-ground perspective as well. And I've been reminded time and again of how municipal governments are the order of government closest to the people. And thus, you have the greatest opportunity to shape and build the resilient future that we want. In your communities, I've met people and shared with them their unvarnished views of what it means to live in Ontario. I've had a chance to ask them, why on earth do you live here in whatever community they're in? But I've also asked them about their aspirations and the challenges that they face in achieving them. And I've then told their stories. While the specifics have varied and the vocabulary as well, Ontarians have told me about the many connections, whether hidden or not so much more obvious. The connections between economic prosperity, environmental stewardship, and social cohesion. And those are, in fact, the key elements of sustainability. Ontarians have spoken about and shown the ways that local efforts can make a significant impact because they draw neighbors and communities together, and by leveraging the experience and the creativity of the collective. This, of course, has been particularly obvious during the time of a global pandemic, a time when we also learned about interdependencies and exposed inequities in our society. What we learned was that government really does matter. As mayors and councillors, you have unique opportunities to respond in meaningful ways, not only to the immediate concerns of residents, but also the large-scale challenges that are affecting humanity. And I have been so very proud to amplify your stories, to tell the story of Ontario around the world. AMO has advanced many of these priorities, from the environment to energy and climate change, to food security, to housing, to health and human services. And in doing so, you've recognized that there are both local and global dimensions. Of all of your efforts, the one that resonates currently and most for me is the new Healthy Democracy Initiative. In these disruptive, fast-paced, and challenging times, it's clear that democracies all over this world are fragile. The underpinning institutions are showing cracks, and we're all vulnerable and must be vigilant. So AMO's commitment to the health and prosperity of Ontario's communities is evident in the way you actually think about and talk about the Healthy Democracy Initiative. And that's why I was so very pleased several months ago to grant honorary patronage to you. Ontarians understand that democracy is about so much more than a vote that you hold every few years. It's really about how we set the ground rules for how we're going to learn to live together. And it's absolutely rooted in local communities. In your own words, your work at AMO is about promoting greater civic engagement, attracting diversity of leadership and perspective, and encouraging respect for people engaged in democratic processes. And might I say that that requires the support of each and every one of us. I will leave having many fond memories of my work with municipal governments. Just this morning, I've been so energized by the opportunity to convene women mayors and councillors of this province, as we did over breakfast this morning. And one of the other moments that I will remember fondly was the very special invitation to Picton after the last municipal elections. I was asked and honored to witness the swearing in of the new mayor and councillors for Prince Edward County. And I single that event out because it's so important that democratic ceremonies are not reserved simply for the halls of Queen Park or the Hill in Ottawa. Democracy actually lives in our communities, in Picton, in Muskoka Lakes, and here in London today. For this gathering will not only increase your capacity to forge alliances and find better ways for all of us to live together in closer harmony with the lands and waters around us. Your agenda will tackle so many urgent and intractable issues. It's a daunting prospect over the next several days, but one that gives us all real hope for positive change. Undoubtedly, you're going to be able to gather insights and better understandings through respectful dialogue with colleagues from across this big, beautiful, and sometimes absolutely unwieldy province. So as His Majesty the King's representative in Ontario, and on behalf of the people of this province, I thank you once again for representing your constituents to the best of your abilities, for strengthening the bonds that keep Ontarians together, and for continuing to work for a future that works for everyone. I wish you well. Merci. Miigwech.